contrary to popular belief, it's not that Peru can't afford archaeology, it's that the Peruvian government decides not to spend the money. Peru is a very rich country. The problem is 5% of the people own almost all of it, and they live in places called Mirror Flores. So the government can't say they can't afford this, it's just that they kind of prefer it when foreign universities want to come and finance the digging, because who wouldn't? Next one. And that's one of the skulls that I was able to take a sample from. And this is another curious thing. You see the two little holes on top of the head. That's one thing that Lloyd Pye has been able to tell me about so far, is the fact that in every human jaw, there's a hole here and a hole there. And what they're for is that's where nerves and blood travel, because this is so far from the main part of the circulatory system that the nerves and the blood require like an exit point in order to be able to feed the face. In 3 of these skulls, you see this phenomenon. These are only in the elongated ones, and these are 2 points in the back. And Lloyd, who is an expert on human anatomy and primate anatomy, said the function of that is natural. That's what nature did in order to accommodate the size of the head. In order to feed the blood supply and nerves through it, nature produced these 2 little holes. So what that shows us is evidence of the fact that some of these skulls were not shaped by people. And that's another one of the skulls I took samples from. Another interesting little characteristic is you see it has teeth in the front, but it has no molars. And it also doesn't have holes where the molars would fit. These people would have lived on a diet of, to some extent, seafood, but corn to a great degree. And for corn and vegetables, you need molars to grind them, but they don't exist in these people. Again, it's a mystery. And this again is another example of these 2 holes in the skull. And this is another example of where you see that there are only 2 cranial plates. There's one in front and one in behind. There's supposed to be 3 of them. Next. And that's just detail of that fact. Again, the 2 holes in the head. And this is a mummy that I was able to take skin and hair samples from. And what this shows is that this woman, we know she's a woman. We still don't know how old the mummy is, because we're waiting for the results from Lloyd Pye, but she had short hair. Again, the idea being that she was royalty. And she was showing off the fact that she was, because she had this enormous skull. And the photograph isn't very good, but her hair is very dark red. And so I was able to I didn't cut samples, I was able to take the whole hair, including the scalp itself. So what we can find out through analysis is if the hair inside the skin is red, then this person was red-headed. And Indians in North and South America in general are not, so that suggests genetic input from some other place on the planet. This is one of my books I wrote about, it's a tour guide to Cusco, but it's based on all of the other slides you saw. It's not the standard, the Inca built this and then they built that. This is more, if you look at this, you see the Inca built this, but these other structures probably were not built by them. And I did the same for Machu Picchu. And that's a book I wrote about Hawaii, because I lived in Hawaii and was very frustrated by the fact that almost every book about Hawaii contains, the first 5 pages will cover the 1500 to 2000 years of Hawaiians living in Hawaii, and then the other 500 pages are about Captain Cook and the missionaries and plantations. And so I've been very fortunate that Hawaiian elders taught me their stories when I was there, and told me that I was allowed to present it in book form. And so this covers the origins of Hawaii and who they were. And it took me 15 years to actually write it down, because I wanted to make sure that I had the Hawaiians were the first to read the first copies, and they all said, go ahead. And this is the book that David Hector Childress and I are writing about the elongated skulls. It's going to discuss the whole global phenomenon. And then what I plan to do after this is I'm going to continue researching specifically about the Paracas people, because they are the only ones who seem to have this as a natural feature. And I really want to find out where these people came from. If they lived on the coast, it means they had access to the ocean. If they had access to the ocean, and totora reed grows there, which is also, found in Lake Titicaca for building ships, and also in Egypt. They knew the Egyptians built giant ships out of totora, perhaps 100 feet long or longer. I'm speculating that the Paracas people had contact by building ships with at least the people of Easter Island, if not also with the area of Tahiti and Hawaii, perhaps even farther afield. That's it. Thank you.